Hello, Year 3, Lesson 5 on how to train a dragon. It's the end of Chapter 2, and Fishlegs has just made a pretty huge mistake. Let's find out what happens next. Uh-oh, whispered Hiccup. The Nada's head suddenly whipped round to face Fishlegs, its yellow cat's eyes snapping into focus on the boy. It unfolded its wings to their greatest extent and stealthily advanced, like a panther about to spring. It opened its mouth wide enough to show the forked dragon tongue and "Run!" shouted Hiccup, grabbing Fishlegs' arm and dragging him away. The boys ran for the exit tunnel. Fishlegs and Hiccup were the last to get there. There was no time to pick up the torches, so they were running in the pitch dark. The basket with the basic brown dragon in it was bumping on Hiccup's back. They had 2 minutes start on the dragons because it took a while for the first dragon to wake everyone else up. But Hiccup could hear a furious roaring and flapping as the dragons started to pour into the tunnel after the boys. He ran a little faster. The dragons could move more quickly than the boys because they could see better in the dark, but they were held up when the tunnel got smaller because they had to fold their wings up to squirm through. "I haven't got a dragon," panted Fishlegs a couple of paces behind Hiccup. "That," said Hiccup as he scrambled frantically on his elbows through a narrow bit, "is the least of our problems. They're gaining on us." "No, dragon," repeated Fishlegs stubbornly. "Oh, for Thor's sake," snapped Hiccup. He thrust his basket into Fishlegs' arms and grabbed the empty one from Fishlegs' back. "Have mine then, wait here." And Hiccup turned and went back through the narrow bit, even though the roaring was getting louder and closer by the second. "What are you doing?" screamed Fishlegs, frantically dancing up and down on the spot. Hiccup came back through the hole again precious moments later. Fishlegs grabbed hold of an arm to help haul him through. Right, retrieval. What makes the reader think that Hiccup is actually very brave? And that goes back to yesterday's reading as well. What do you think? Rather than being a coward and being useless, as Snotlout has said, what does Hiccup do that might mean he's actually very brave? They could hear a horrible snuffling as what sounded like the nose of a dragon entered the other end of the hole. Hiccup bunged a rock at it and it squealed indignantly. They turned a corner and suddenly they could see a light from outside at the end of the final tunnel. Fishlegs went first, but just as Hiccup was kneeling down to follow, a dragon pounced on him with a flap and a shriek. Hiccup hit it and it fell back enough for him to crawl towards the light. Another dragon, or maybe the same one, sunk its fangs into Hiccup's calf. He was so desperate to get out, he dragged the animal through with him. As soon as Hiccup's head and shoulders were through into the light, there was Gobber. He grabbed Hiccup under the armpits and hauled him out, dragons pouring after him. "Jump!" yelled Gobber as he stunned a dragon with one blow of his mighty fist. "What do you mean, jump?" Hiccup hesitated as he looked down at the dizzying drop into the sea. "No time to climb down," panted Gobber. So how might Hiccup and Fishlegs be feeling right now? How might they be feeling now? Banging a couple of dragons' heads together and bouncing 3 more off his gigantic belly. "Jump!" Hiccup closed his eyes and leapt off the cliff. As he plunged through the air, the dragon that was attached to his leg released its jaws with a squawk of alarm and flew off. Hiccup was travelling at such a speed by the time he hit the water that it didn't feel like water at all, more like something hard and painful and so cold that he nearly passed out. So it's an inference question here. Why did the water not feel like water at all? He spluttered to the surface, amazed to find that he didn't appear to be dead, and was immediately drenched by the gigantic splash of Gobber the Belt landing a couple of feet away from him. Shrieking furiously, the dragons swarmed out of the cave and dive-bombed the floating Vikings. Hiccup pulled his helmet as far down as it would go. There were horrible scraping sounds as the dragon's talons raked across the metal. Another one landed, hissing on the water right in front of Hiccup's face, and it took off again with a screech when it felt how cold the sea was. The dragons didn't like flying through the snow, and with relief, Hiccup watched as they flew back to scream terrible dragon insults in Dragonese from the warmth of the cave entrance. Gobber started to pull the boys out of the sea and onto the rocks. Viking boys are strong swimmers, but it's difficult to keep afloat when you have a basket full of trapped, terrified dragon on your back. Hiccup was the last to be saved, just in time, as the cold was beginning to put him to sleep. Well, at least that wasn't death, thought Hiccup, as Gobber grabbed him by the neck to rescue him, nearly drowning him again in the process. But it certainly wasn't glory either. So your last task for this reading is to design the perfect dragon basket. You can add some modern and high-tech features, but make sure you label everything in your drawing and are ready to explain why you have included it in the dragon basket. Okay. We have here is Viking Dragons and Their Eggs, another page from the book that Hiccup has written, The Gronkel. The Gronkel is a plug ugly of the dragon world, but what it lacks in looks, it makes up for on the battlefield. They can be slow and, dare I say it, stupid, and sometimes they get so fat that they are unable to take off. They are also prone to dragon acne. Statistics, colours, snot green, bogey beige, pooey brown. Armed with all the best in dragon weaponry, fangs like daggers, extra spike on the neck, ball with spikes on the end of the tail. Fear factors 7, attack 8, speed 8, size 7, disobedience 5. A prediction question for you. What do you think will happen to Hiccup next? And will he be exiled? So can you remember back, they said that if you didn't come back without a dragon, or if you came back without a dragon, you could be exiled. I wonder if he managed to get a dragon. That's an interesting thought, isn't it? So your idea, what do you think is going to happen to Hiccup next?